All right, let's do some practice adding and subtracting mixed numbers. We can use either method 1 or 2. So I'll use method 1 on this first one. That means I'm going to add my whole numbers together. 5 plus 2 gives me 7. And then I need to add my fractions together. So I'm going to have 1/2 plus 1/4. Okay, that means I'm going to need a common denominator there, which would be 4. So I have to multiply that 1/2 by 2. So I get 7, and then I've got 2/4 plus 1/4, which gives me 7 3/4. Okay, let's try the next one using method 2. So I'm gonna change it over to improper fractions. So 2 times 2 is 4 plus 1 is 5/2 plus, then I've got 6 times 3 is 18 plus 1 is 19. So 19/6. Okay, now I need to convert those so I have a common denominator. So 5/2, well, I have to multiply that by 3 to end up with a common denominator of 6. And then my second fraction is already over 6. So I end up with 15/6 plus 19/6. And 15 plus 19 gives me 34. So I'll have 34/6. I can divide both of those by 2 to get 17/3. Or if I wanted a mixed number, 17/3 would go 5 times with 2 left over. So it would be 5 2/3. All right, next one. Let's do method 1. So whole numbers, 2 plus 2 gives us 4. And then we're going to have plus 7/16 plus 3/4. So we need an LCD here for 4 and 16. Since 16 is a multiple of 4, I can use 16 as my LCD. So that means I'm going to be multiplying the second fraction by 4/4. In other words, I'm multiplying the numerator and denominator by 4. So now I'm going to have 12/16 for that second fraction. Now I have like fractions, so that gives me 19/16. 19/16 is an improper fraction, which is the same as 1 and 3/16. So now I have to add 4. Here, let's do this. 4 plus 1 3/16. Now I can add up my whole numbers to get 5 3/16. So my answer here would be 5 3/16. And this here is why I really prefer to do the method 2, because we had to convert to that mixed number in the middle. So let's try this next one with the method 2. So I'm going to convert to improper fractions. So 3 times 5 is 15 plus 1 gives us 16/3. And then we're adding 9/4. Okay, we're looking for a common denominator of 3 and 4. And that will be, well, let's do it. Let's do it with the division method. 3 and 4. We can take out a 2 there, and we're already done. Our LCD here would be 2 times 3 times 2, which is 12. So I want to convert both of these fractions to numbers over 12. So what did we have to multiply that first one by to get to 12? We would have had to multiply it by 4, which means we need to multiply that second number 4 by 3. So once we do our multiplications, we get 16 times 4 will give me 64. So 64/12 plus 9 times 3 is 27/12. Okay, and so 64 plus 27 gives me what? So I get 91 over 12, or if I wanted to convert that to a mixed number, that would go how many times? 91 divided by 12 gives me 7 plus a bit. So we're going to have a 7 up here. 7 times 12 gives me 84. So the remainder is 7. So our mixed number here, so this is one of our answers, the improper fraction, or our mixed number is going to be 7 and 7/12. Okay, next one, let's try method 1. Just because I don't like it as much doesn't mean you might not. So we're going to add up our whole numbers to get 11. And then we're going to have another 1/2 plus 3/8. 8 is a multiple of 2, which means we want both of our denominators to be over 8. It's our common denominator. So I know I can multiply the top and bottom by 4 there to get to 8. So now I've got 11 plus 4 over 8 plus 3 over 8. I'm going to add those two fractions together to get 7 over 8. I can see the appeal of this method because sometimes it works out quite nicely to not have to switch back to a mixed number. All right, let's get into a subtraction. So let's try method 2 because or method 1. I think it'll work quite nicely here. So we're going to subtract our whole numbers. 3 minus 3 gives us 0. And then we're going to have 11 over 12 minus 5 over 8. Okay, so I need a common denominator for 12 and 8. Let's do the tree method to figure out what our denominator is going to be here, our common denominator. So I do my prime factorization table. So 12 is 3 times 2 times 2. 8 is 2 times 2 times 2. So my LCD is 3 times 2 times 2 times 2, which is 6 times 4, or 24. So I want an LCD of 24. So I've got my 11 over 12. I can just get rid of the 0. I want that to be over 24, which means I'm multiplying it by 2. And then I've got minus 5 over 8 to make that something over 24. We're multiplying by 3. So we end up with 22 over 24 minus 15 over 24. And that gives me 7 over 24. Okay, couple more. Are you tired yet? I know these ones take a lot. They do take a lot of practice, so I encourage you to do all of your assigned questions for this section. Okay, let's try which one? Let's try method 2. So we're going to convert to improper fractions. So 3 times 4 is 12 plus 2 is 14. So 14 over 3 minus 17 over 12. 12 is a multiple of 3. So that means I need both of my fractions over 12. So I'm going to multiply this first fraction by 4 over 4 so that I end up with that denominator of 12. So 14 times 4 gives me 56. So this is 56 over 12 minus 17 over 12. Now we've got that common denominator. So let's do the subtraction on top. So 56 minus 17 gives me 39 over 12. And so I could leave it as an improper fraction, or 39 divided by 12 goes 3 times. And I'm going to have 3 left over. So that's going to be 3 and 3/12 and 3/12. Oh dear. That's not simplified, is it? That means I should have simplified the first one as well. Okay, well, let's keep going with that. 3/12. I stopped because I realized 3 and 12 can both divide by 3. So I could have written this as 3 and 1 over 4, that means I probably have the same problem with my improper fraction. I'm just going to erase that 39 over 12 and put it further over to the left. So we ended up with 39 over 12. Both of those are divisible by 3. And so if I divide both of those by 3, I'm going to end up with 13 over 4, which is the fraction in simplest form. Okay, last one. So let's do method 2. So we're going to, oh no, let's do method 1. So we're going to subtract our whole numbers to get 0. And then we're going to subtract our fractions. So we've got 9/10 minus 7/8. We need an LCD for those two so we can subtract them. So we need an LCD for 10 and 8. So let's do the division table. So both of those share a common factor of 2. And then here I'm going to divide out another 2. So I can figure out my LCD is 2 times 2 times 5 times 2, which is 40. So I want to convert both of these fractions to numbers over 40. That means this first fraction here, I would have to multiply by 4 over 4. And the second fraction here, to get to 40, I've got to multiply that 8 by 5. So I end up then with 36 over 40 minus 35 over 40, which leaves me with 1 over 40.